Maplewood Manor stood silent on the hill, its windows darkened, its gardens overgrown, yet tonight, the grand estate would host more than a dinner party. It would host a mystery that would haunt its halls for weeks to come. The invitation arrived in a crisp cream envelope, sealed with a deep crimson wax emblem. Clara Monroe, private investigator with a fondness for fine gloves and meticulous observation, studied the elegant script. You are cordially invited to Maplewood Manor for a weekend gathering. Mystery, intrigue, and old friends await. Arrival Friday evening. She smiled faintly. Maplewood Manor, a sprawling estate just outside the quiet town of Ashwood Heights. Its reputation preceded it. Grandeur, secrecy, and rumors of scandal whispered among the town's residents. Clara had been called before for unusual occurrences, but this invitation felt deliberate. Friday evening arrived with a sky heavy and gray, threatening rain. Clara drove her modest sedan along the winding road leading up to the manor, passing wrought iron gates and overgrown hedges. The air smelled of damp leaves and distant pine, and she couldn't help but notice the old stone walls, ivy crawling like fingers toward the roof. The front door opened before she could knock. A tall, austere butler with silver hair and a clipped expression greeted her. "Miss Monroe, welcome. The others have arrived. Dinner will be served shortly." Clara stepped inside, taking in the grandeur of the entrance hall. Crystal chandeliers hung from high ceilings, and oil paintings of stern ancestors glared down from the walls. A massive staircase curved elegantly upward, disappearing into shadows above. Guests milled about, a mixture of old friends, strangers, and distant relatives. There was the sharp-eyed banker, Mr. Whitaker, the vivacious socialite, Miss Evelyn March, the quiet historian, Dr. Langley, and a charming young architect, Thomas Blythe, whose easy smile seemed slightly rehearsed. Each greeted Clara with polite curiosity, some whispering questions about her reputation as a problem solver. But she had learned long ago that manners often masked motives, and in Maplewood Manor, motives were never simple. Dinner was served in a vast dining room lined with velvet drapes and polished mahogany. The meal was impeccable. Roast pheasant, glazed root vegetables, and bread warm from the oven. Wine flowed easily, conversation danced around trivialities, and yet beneath the polite laughter, Clara sensed tension. She noticed it first in Mr. Whitaker, fingers tapping subtly against the table, eyes flicking toward the silver candelabra as if expecting something to vanish. Evelyn March laughed a little too loudly, her jeweled hands twisting nervously in her lap. Even Thomas Blythe seemed to study the room constantly, as if memorizing exits and potential hiding places. And then there was the host, Lord Henry Maplewood, an aging aristocrat with a penchant for theatrics. He rose to propose a toast, voice booming, eyes twinkling. "Welcome, friends. Tonight, we gather not just for companionship, but for intrigue. Secrets are the spice of life, and here at Maplewood Manor, we have plenty." Clara noted a subtle shiver ripple through the guests. His words, though jovial, carried an edge. Everyone knew that Maplewood Manor had long been the stage for disputes, scandals, and whispered betrayals. Tonight, it seemed, was no exception. The thunder began softly in the distance, a low rumble accompanying the first drizzled tapping against the tall windows. Guests exchanged glances, some uneasy, some curious. Clara's instincts, honed by years of observation, told her the weekend would not be ordinary. As dessert was served, rich chocolate torte and spiced pear tart, a sudden scream shattered the delicate atmosphere. Glasses clinked and forks paused midair. Guests rose from their seats, eyes wide. From the corner of the dining room, a maid appeared, pale and trembling. "Lord Maplewood, it's Mr. Whitaker, he's fallen, or worse." Gasps echoed through the hall. Clara's notebook clicked open, and as the first drops of rain streaked the window, Clara realized, the weekend at Maplewood Manor had begun with murder. The echo of a scream still lingered in the grand hall, and Clara Monroe knew that to solve the mystery, she would have to uncover the secrets hidden behind locked doors and velvet drapes. Clara Monroe moved quickly toward the source of the commotion. Guests clustered near the fallen banker, Mr. Whitaker, who lay sprawled across the floor with a faint pulse but a rapidly paling face. The maid's trembling hands pointed toward the study at the far end of the hall. I was just bringing his notes," she whispered. He went in there alone." Harrowing though it was, Clara knew she had to act. She knelt beside Mr. Whittaker, noting the faint sheen of perspiration on his brow and the subtle bruise beginning to form at his temple. He was alive, just barely, but the danger that had befallen him could easily have been fatal. "Stay calm," she murmured to the maid. Then she straightened, scanning the room. Every guest had frozen, caught between fear and curiosity. Eyes darted from Clara to the study, suspicion beginning to seep into polite expressions. The study door, heavy oak with brass fittings, was slightly ajar. Clara pushed it open and stepped inside. The room smelled faintly of old leather, ink, and the faint hint of cigar smoke. Books lined the walls from floor to ceiling, some open and abandoned as if Mr. Whittaker had been researching something urgent. Clara's eyes fell on the desk. Papers were scattered across the polished surface, some pages torn hastily from their bindings. A single envelope rested on the edge, its contents spilling slightly, a series of financial ledgers, coded notes, and a folded letter in fine handwriting. She picked up the letter. The words were simple but chilling. "Secrets buried here will rise tonight. Trust no one." Clara felt a shiver. Someone had intended for Mr. Whittaker to see, or perhaps had been too late to prevent interference. The timing of the attack suggested inside knowledge. Someone knew when he would be alone. She examined the room carefully. There were no signs of forced entry, but the window was slightly open. Rain streaked the sill. Had someone slipped in through the night air, or was it merely left ajar for the dramatic effect of discovery? Footsteps approached, and Clara turned. Thomas Blythe, the young architect, appeared, face pale, hands gripping his cuffs nervously. "Detective Monroe, I didn't do anything," he said quickly, eyes darting to the papers. I saw him first, but I don't understand." Clara's sharp gaze studied him. Nervousness was expected, but there was something more, a hesitation, a subtle shift of weight, a glance toward the ledgers. "Mr. Blythe, you had access to this study?" "Only to carry supplies or check the lighting," he stammered. I didn't touch anything else." Clara nodded slowly. "Access isn't guilt, but knowledge is opportunity. We must consider everyone." She tucked the letter into her notebook. Whoever had left it was watching, orchestrating, and patient. The storm outside grew stronger, wind rattling the windows, leaves scraping against the stone walls. Clara glanced back at the doorway, where guests lingered nervously. The atmosphere was thick with tension, and whispered suspicions began to circulate like a soft wind among them. She moved to examine the ledgers. Strange symbols marked some entries, hinting at hidden transactions. Names of people in the room appeared repeatedly. Clara's mind raced. Greed, jealousy, hidden alliances, every element that could drive someone to attack was present tonight. And then, a sound, the soft click of a lock turning in the hallway outside. Clara froze, realizing someone else had entered the study unnoticed. She turned slowly, and the shadow in the doorway was unmistakable. Someone else was watching, waiting, and ready to act. Clara Monroe sensed that the study held more than papers and letters. It held secrets that someone would kill to protect, and the butler's discreet movements suggested he knew far more than he admitted. The shadow in the doorway stiffened, and Clara's gaze locked onto the figure, the manor's butler, Mr. Greaves. He was usually calm and composed, hands clasped behind his back, but tonight, something in his posture betrayed tension. "Miss Monroe," he said quietly, bowing slightly, I was merely checking that Mr. Whittaker was attended to. I heard a noise, and thought." His voice trailed off, betraying more than his words. Clara studied him. "Mr. Greaves, you move through these halls as if the manor belongs to you, and in a way, it does. But tell me, what have you observed tonight that you aren't telling anyone?" Greaves' eyes flicked toward the desk, then back to Clara. I try to maintain discretion. Lord Maplewood values privacy above all. But yes, I've seen movements and gestures that were unusual. I thought it best to wait for instructions." Clara nodded slowly. "Unusual movements?" He hesitated. "There was someone else in the corridors earlier. I did not see their face clearly, only shadows. But they lingered near the servants' stairs and the east wing. I assumed it was part of the preparations for tonight's gathering. But now, with Mr. Whittaker." Harrow, who had followed quietly, interjected. "You're saying there was a third party involved? Someone besides the victim, the guests, and the staff?" Greaves nodded. "Yes. They moved with care. And I believe they may have left that letter you found." Clara frowned. "The one warning Whittaker that secrets would rise tonight?" Yes, Greaves replied. It was placed delicately, as if to be found, but only by him. Whoever did it knew exactly how to create fear without immediate detection. Clara made a note. Someone had orchestrated the events meticulously, using timing and opportunity to manipulate. The storm outside, the isolated location of the manor, the gathering of guests, all provided the perfect stage. She glanced at the scattered ledgers and papers. Symbols, coded entries, names repeatedly highlighted. These ledgers are critical. They show financial dealings, possibly motives. But someone else wanted them hidden, or at least misinterpreted. Greaves spoke again, voice quieter now. There is one more thing, something I have not revealed. Lord Maplewood possesses a private study, separate from this one. Few know of its existence. Access requires a key only he, I, and, perhaps the family attorney have. Clara's interest piqued. A secret study? Yes, Greaves said. I believe someone may have entered it this evening. There are items of great value and personal significance there. If someone took anything, it could explain the panic, the letter, and even the attack on Mr. Whittaker. Clara absorbed the information. A secret study, coded ledgers, mysterious visitors in the corridors, and a butler whose loyalty was absolute but knowledge extensive. The pieces were beginning to form a pattern. A sudden noise from the hallway drew Clara's attention. A floorboard creaked, someone moving quickly. She tensed, Harrow following her silently. Greaves stepped back, hands raised slightly. Do not confront them here, Miss Monroe. Whoever it is will flee the manor before you know it. Clara nodded. Understood. But the shadow will not escape the night. Whoever is manipulating events will be found, and the truth uncovered. As Clara moved toward the east wing, she caught sight of a glint, a small, metallic object slipping beneath a tapestry. Her pulse quickened. The game had just grown far more dangerous. Maplewood Manor's grandeur hid more than lavish decor. Behind a tapestry, Clara Monroe would discover a passage that few knew existed. A corridor leading to secrets some would kill to protect. Clara Monroe pressed her hand to the glinting object beneath the tapestry. The metallic edge caught the dim light of her lantern, revealing the corner of a small latch. She tugged gently, and with a soft click, a hidden panel swung inward, revealing a narrow, dust-choked corridor. Harrow crouched beside her. A secret passage, he muttered. This manor has more surprises than its guest list. Clara nodded, her eyes scanning the shadowed corridor. The air smelled faintly of aged wood and mildew, and the flicker of her lantern revealed walls lined with cobwebs and old portraits, their eyes seeming to follow her every move. The corridor extended deep into the east wing, far beyond the reach of casual visitors. Someone used this, Clara said, stepping carefully. And they did it recently. Notice the footprints in the dust? Harrow examined the prints. 2 sets. One large, one smaller. The smaller one matches Emily Carver's shoes, likely from her earlier wandering. But the larger? I can't tell yet. Clara's mind raced. The hidden corridor could explain the movements that Greaves had described, the timing of the attack on Mr. Whittaker, and the mysterious placement of the warning letter. Whoever had planned this knew every corner of the manor, every secret route. At the corridor's end, a door appeared, partially ajar. Clara eased it open and peered inside. The room was small, lined with shelves holding dusty books, odd trinkets, and a single safe built into the wall. It was clear that this had been used as a private study, possibly for matters Lord Maplewood preferred hidden from prying eyes. Harrow's flashlight scanned the room. It's been ransacked. Papers scattered, books pulled from shelves. Whoever came here wanted something specific. Clara moved toward the safe. The combination dial had been tampered with. Scratches around the edges suggested it had been forced open recently. Inside, a small collection of documents, a sealed envelope, and a delicate pocket watch rested. The documents were financial records, investments, property transfers, and some cryptic entries that hinted at undisclosed dealings. Clara carefully opened the envelope. Inside was a note, written in a hand that seemed familiar. The ledger shows more than wealth. It shows who can be trusted. Look closely, and you will see. She glanced at Harrow. Someone is sending messages, guiding actions. They want us to follow the trail, but only if we're perceptive enough. A sudden creak echoed from the corridor behind them. Clara spun, lantern raised, heart steady. Shadows stretched along the walls, moving with unnerving silence. Who's there? She called. Her voice was calm, measured, betraying none of the tension she felt. The shadow paused, then darted back into the corridor, leaving behind only a faint glimmer of something metallic. Another clue, another piece of the puzzle. Clara crouched to examine it. A small key, ornate and old, stamped with the Maplewood crest. Its presence here was deliberate. Whoever had dropped it wanted someone to find it, a hint, or perhaps a trap. "Looks like our game just got more complicated," Clara murmured. "Someone knows we're following, and they're leaving breadcrumbs. But each clue brings us closer to the truth." Harrow nodded. "And closer to the person behind all this chaos. Whoever manipulated Emily, attacked Whittaker, and orchestrated this corridor knows every inch of this place." Clara rose, pocketing the key. She turned toward the hidden passage. "Then we follow it, carefully. Every step, every sound matters. The manor has secrets, yes, but so do its inhabitants. And tonight, those secrets will speak." As Clara and Harrow stepped back into the corridor, a door at the far end creaked open, revealing a figure standing silently in the shadows. Someone who had watched them all along, and whose presence promised danger yet to come. In the dim glow of the hidden corridor, Clara Monroe realized that while the manor's walls kept secrets, someone inside had been watching every move. A witness who held the key to the unfolding mystery. Clara Monroe and Harrow froze as the shadowy figure stepped fully into the flickering lantern light. The figure was small, hunched slightly, and clearly frightened, but undeniably observant. Clara's instincts told her that this person had seen everything that had happened in the manor, from the attack on Mr. Whittaker to the mysterious manipulations of the evening. "Come forward," Clara said gently. Her voice was firm yet reassuring. "You've seen something tonight. You can help us." The figure hesitated, glancing over their shoulder as if the walls themselves might betray them. Slowly, a young maid emerged, her hands trembling. I didn't mean to interfere," she whispered. "I only wanted to tidy the corridors, but I saw everything. I saw him, the one who attacked Mr. Whittaker." Clara's gaze sharpened. "Who? Name him, and you'll be safe. We need your help to prevent another tragedy." The maid swallowed hard. It was Thomas Blythe. He was moving through the halls. I think he was searching for something, but I didn't touch it. I just saw him." Harrow frowned. "The architect? But he claimed earlier he was unaware of anything unusual." Clara held up a hand, motioning him to stay silent. "Sometimes, fear can make people lie, or omit the truth." "Young lady," she said, turning to the maid, "what else did you see?" I saw the envelope," the maid continued, voice quivering. "The note on the desk in the study. And, I think, I saw someone leave it, but their face was hidden. Only the hands, they were gloved." Clara's mind worked quickly. Gloves meant premeditation, someone careful, deliberate, and intent on leaving messages without revealing themselves. The pieces began to align. The study ransacked, the hidden corridor, the dropped key, and now a witness who had observed a gloved hand leaving the note. "Where did you see this?" Clara asked, lowering her voice. "In the library corridor, near the east wing," the maid whispered. "I was dusting the shelves, and I saw him. I think he didn't notice me." Clara's eyes met Harrow's. "That explains the precise timing of the attack on Whittaker and the placement of the letters. Someone is manipulating events, watching reactions, and orchestrating fear. But why?" Harrow shook his head. "Control? Greed? Or revenge?" Clara crouched slightly, examining the footprints in the corridor once more. All of it points to a single mind, careful, calculating, and intimately familiar with this manor. The hidden corridor, the secret study, whoever it is, they know exactly how to move without being seen. The maid shivered. I don't know if I should stay or go." "You'll stay," Clara said gently. "You'll be safe with us. And your testimony may be the key to ending the chaos tonight." Outside, the storm had quieted to a drizzle, leaving the manor wrapped in mist. The rain tapping against the windows sounded like soft whispers of warning. Clara felt a familiar rush, the adrenaline of discovery, the thrill of uncovering hidden truths, and knew that the weekend's mystery was far from over. As Clara motioned for the maid to lead them back toward the main hall, a faint metallic click echoed from the shadowed corridor ahead. A door had been unlocked from the inside, and someone was waiting silently beyond it, watching, planning their next move. The manor's shadows stretched long under the dim lantern light, and Clara Monroe knew the secrets of the past often hid in high, dusty corners. Tonight, The attic would reveal truths that had been buried for decades. Clara Monroe led Harrow and the young maid through the east wing corridor, following the faint metallic click that had echoed moments earlier. Her instincts told her that whoever had manipulated events tonight was not finished, and the hidden pathways of Maplewood Manor were their playground. A narrow staircase, previously unnoticed behind a velvet drape, creaked under their weight as they ascended. The air grew colder with each step, tinged with the mustiness of age and neglect. At the top, a heavy oak door bore iron hinges corroded with time. Clara paused, hand on the knob. "This is it," she murmured. "Whatever is hidden here, someone wanted to keep it away from sight, but not from us." She pushed open the door. The attic stretched wide, filled with the muted clutter of generations, trunks, faded portraits, stacks of books, and the lingering smell of cedar. Dust motes danced in the lantern's beam, and the soft patter of rain on the roof above added an eerie rhythm to the scene. Harrow's flashlight swept across the room. "Looks untouched for years, but someone's been here recently." Clara's eyes caught a small bundle tucked behind a trunk. She approached carefully and pulled it into the light, a series of journals, bound in worn leather, with the initials HM etched faintly into the covers. She recognized them immediately. Henry Maplewood's personal writings. She opened the first journal. The pages revealed meticulous notes, detailing family finances, property disputes, and cryptic observations about loyal staff, and those whose trust cannot be given lightly. But then her eyes widened. Hidden among the financial entries were accounts of conflicts, secret alliances, and veiled threats. Long-buried family grudges that cast a shadow over the present. Harrow stepped closer. These must be what Whitaker and Blythe were after. Or what someone didn't want anyone else to see. Clara nodded. Exactly. And it explains why the hidden corridor was used, why the study was ransacked, and why the notes were left strategically. Someone is working to protect, or exploit, these secrets. As she flipped through the journals, a faint scrap of paper slipped from one volume. Clara picked it up carefully. Written in elegant, precise handwriting were the words, "The truth hides where the eyes cannot see. Only the vigilant will uncover it." Her pulse quickened. Someone had deliberately hidden these writings, knowing they would draw attention. It was a trap, or a warning, perhaps both. The maid shivered beside her. "Miss Monroe, what does it mean?" "It means," Clara said softly, "that someone is guiding these events, orchestrating fear, and using the manor itself as their instrument. The journals are a key piece of the puzzle. Whoever is behind this knows more than anyone else in this house." Harrow frowned. "So the attack, the letters, the hidden corridor, all part of a plan?" "Yes," Clara said, eyes narrowing as she scanned the attic. "And now we know the motive is tied not just to money or status, but to history, family secrets, and control of what others cannot see." A sudden noise startled them, the soft scrape of shoes against the wooden floor behind the trunks. Clara turned sharply, lantern in hand, and caught sight of a figure slipping into a shadowed corner. Before she could react, the figure vanished, leaving behind only a single object. A delicate gold locket, engraved with the Maplewood crest. A clue that promised to unlock the next layer of deception. Clara Monroe held the gold locket in her hand, its delicate clasp warm from recent touch, and realized that sometimes the smallest objects carried the heaviest secrets. The gold locket gleamed faintly in the lantern's light, a simple yet elegant piece, engraved with the Maplewood family crest. Clara Monroe turned it over carefully, noting the faint fingerprints along its edges. This was no ordinary trinket, it had been deliberately placed, deliberately revealed. Harrow knelt beside her. "A clue, then?" he asked. "Or a trap?" "Both, perhaps," Clara replied. She flicked open the tiny clasp, revealing a folded piece of paper inside. The handwriting was unmistakably refined, the script delicate and precise. "The past is never buried. Seek the heart of the manor to find the truth." Clara's brow furrowed. The heart of the manor? She scanned the attic once more, noting the positioning of trunks, stacks of books, and the small trapdoor partially hidden beneath a rug. The maid, who had been quietly following, pointed. "That trapdoor. I've never seen it open." Clara knelt and lifted it. A small set of steps led downward, spiraling gently, disappearing into shadows below. The faint scent of old wood and faint candle wax drifted upward. "This must be the heart of the manor," Clara said. "Hidden, Preserved, private. Someone wanted us to find it, or feared we would. Harrow glanced nervously at the steps. We should be cautious. Whoever orchestrated this evening might be waiting for us. Clara nodded. Agreed. But if we follow the trail, we may uncover the source of the chaos, the one manipulating events from the shadows. The trio descended carefully, the wooden stairs creaking underfoot. At the bottom, they found a small, dimly lit room, lined with shelves holding ancient tomes, family ledgers, and boxes of correspondence. At the center, a desk bore papers meticulously organized, along with a second, smaller locket, identical to the one found upstairs. Clara examined it. Someone is signaling us, or warning us. Two identical lockets, placed in different locations. This is deliberate. She opened the second locket, revealing a tiny, folded photograph of Lord Maplewood's father, along with a note. Trust is rare. Those who appear loyal may conceal the deepest secrets. Follow the symbols. They will guide you to the truth. Clara's mind raced. The symbols, the hidden corridor, the journals, the letters. Each was a breadcrumb left by someone with intimate knowledge of the manor. The events of the evening were no accident. They were carefully planned, like a symphony in which each instrument had its precise role. Harrow leaned closer. Do you think Blythe is involved? Or the guests? Clara shook her head. Too early to tell. But the person leaving these clues is clever, patient, and knows the manor's secrets. Someone who understands history, hierarchy, and human behavior. The maid shivered. Miss Monroe, is it safe? Clara pocketed both lockets. Safe enough, for now. But we must proceed carefully. Whoever left these intends to remain unseen until the final note is revealed. A sudden sound echoed from the top of the hidden stairs. A soft footfall, deliberate and slow. Clara froze, listening intently. A shadow fell across the doorway, and a voice whispered from the darkness. Detective Monroe, you found my locket. But can you find the rest before it's too late? In the hidden heart of Maplewood Manor, Clara Monroe realized that the gold lockets were only the beginning. Beneath the surface lay a secret that had haunted the family for generations, and tonight it threatened to claim another victim. Clara Monroe studied the photograph in the second locket, a stern, sharp-eyed man, unmistakably Lord Maplewood's father. She carefully unfolded the note and read it again. Trust is rare. Those who appear loyal may conceal the deepest secrets. Follow the symbols. They will guide you to the truth. Symbols. That was the key. She scanned the room again, noting small marks etched into the bookshelves, faint scratches along the edges of the floorboards, and a pattern in the placement of the journals. Harrow stepped closer. These marks, they're deliberate? Yes, Clara said, tracing the lines with her finger. Someone is guiding us, someone who knows the manor inside and out. And these lockets, the letters, even the corridors, all point to a single truth buried deep in this family's history. The maid whispered, I don't understand. What could be so important? Clara held up the second locket. Something that someone wants to protect at all costs. Something that explains the attack on Mr. Whitaker, the letters, the ransacked study. And it's tied to the Maplewood lineage. She moved toward the shelves, examining the ledgers and old correspondence. One particular book caught her eye. A leather-bound diary with the initials HM engraved in gold. She opened it carefully. The entries detailed not only family events but also disputes over inheritance, secret financial dealings, and hidden alliances, many involving names of tonight's guests. Harrow's eyes widened. So someone here tonight might have motive beyond the ordinary? Yes, Clara replied, and the journals hint at something more. A betrayal, long concealed, that could ruin reputations, or worse. Clara flipped further through the diary, uncovering a page carefully folded and tucked between two others. It revealed a detailed account of a concealed room within the manor, designed by Lord Maplewood's father decades earlier. The room, accessible only via the hidden corridor, contained documents, valuables, and evidence of past deceptions. That's it, Clara said. The hidden corridor, the study ransacked, the letters, all were attempts to access or protect this secret room. Whoever manipulated tonight's events knows exactly what's inside and is desperate to control it. Harrow frowned. And the locket? Clara held it up. A signal. A way to draw someone attentive enough to uncover the truth. Whoever left it is watching, testing us, and perhaps leading us to the final revelation. A faint noise startled them, a whisper of movement above the stairs. Clara turned sharply, lantern raised. From the shadows, a figure emerged, tall, deliberate, and unmistakably familiar. It was Thomas Blythe. He looked at her, expression a mixture of fear and resolve. "Detective Monroe, you don't understand. I only wanted to protect the family. The journals, the corridor, the locket, it's not what you think." Clara's eyes narrowed. "Then explain, Mr. Blythe. Quickly. Because someone has already attacked tonight, and if we delay, it could happen again." Blythe swallowed. "The secret, it's not money, not betrayal, it's a legacy. Something meant to be preserved for generations, but if revealed too soon, it could destroy everything Lord Maplewood built. I only wanted to ensure no one misused it." Clara listened, her instincts balancing skepticism with understanding. The manor itself, the hidden passages, the journals, all were part of the web he had tried to protect, though his methods had been reckless. Before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from the main hall. Someone had triggered a trap or stumbled across a hidden passage. Clara realized with a chill. The final confrontation was imminent, and the true mastermind had yet to reveal themselves. The manor's shadows had grown long, and Clara Monroe knew the final act was near. Tonight, the mastermind would be revealed, and the carefully orchestrated chaos would reach its climax. Clara Monroe and Harrow hurried toward the main hall, the storm's remnants dripping through the tall windows. Rain streaked the glass, casting eerie shadows across the polished floors. Guests huddled in groups, whispers of fear and speculation filling the grand room. Clara's eyes scanned every face. Everyone seemed anxious, yet one figure remained calm, unnervingly so. The maid who had witnessed movements in the corridor now stood stiffly near the fireplace, hands clasped tightly, eyes wide. She had seen more than anyone else. A sudden noise behind the organ bench drew Clara's attention. From the shadows, a tall figure emerged, unmistakably Lord Henry Maplewood himself. His usual poise was intact, but there was a tension in his shoulders, a sharpness in his gaze. "Detective Monroe," he said, voice steady but firm. "I suppose you have discovered my little puzzle." Clara studied him, noting the gloved hands he kept subtly behind his back. "Lord Maplewood," she said carefully, "it seems you've been orchestrating events tonight. Mr. Whittaker attacked, journals ransacked, letters left, all to protect a family secret." His lips curled into a faint smile. "You are perceptive, Miss Monroe." "Yes, I arranged certain elements, the letters, the lockets, to ensure that only the worthy would uncover the truth. The family legacy is delicate, and I could not allow it to fall into reckless hands." Harrow's brow furrowed. "But someone was hurt, sir. Mr. Whittaker nearly died. Others were frightened. Was that part of your plan?" Maplewood's eyes flickered. "Unintended consequences, I admit. But the alternative, secrecy violated, history erased, would have been far worse." Clara took a step closer. "Then the journals, the hidden corridor, the trapdoors, all carefully placed tests, yes? You were watching reactions, manipulating events, and attempting to control who saw what." He nodded. "Precisely. But I miscalculated. I underestimated others' curiosity and courage, especially yours." From the side, Thomas Blythe stepped forward. "Sir, this has gone too far. Manipulating events, endangering lives, it's unacceptable. There's a right way to preserve a legacy, and this isn't it." Maplewood's gaze softened, then hardened again. "Blythe, you failed to grasp the gravity. Some truths cannot be revealed lightly. This manor, these documents, and this family's history, they require careful guardianship." Clara studied him intently. "Guardianship doesn't excuse reckless endangerment. The question now is, who is worthy of the secret? And how do we ensure no one else is harmed?" Maplewood hesitated, then reached into his coat and retrieved the final journal, the one missing from the attic. "The truth," he said, "is here. Only those who understand responsibility may read it." He handed it to Clara. She opened it carefully, revealing entries that clarified decades of financial arrangements, hidden alliances, and family disputes. But also notes about integrity, honor, and the care required to maintain the Maplewood legacy. Clara looked up. "The danger isn't just the secret itself, Lord Maplewood, it's the manipulation, the games played with lives. Your plan nearly caused tragedy." Maplewood nodded slowly. "I see that now. And I accept responsibility." As the tension settled, a faint click echoed behind the grand staircase. Clara froze, realizing that even now, one final surprise remained. One last twist waiting to be revealed before the mystery could be fully resolved. After a night of secrets, shadows, and whispered warnings, Clara Monroe knew that the final truth was within reach, and the last piece of the puzzle would reveal not only the culprit, but the heart of Maplewood Manor itself. Clara Monroe's gaze sharpened as the faint click echoed again from the grand staircase. Everyone in the main hall froze, breath held in anticipation. The storm had cleared entirely, leaving the manor draped in mist and silence, the windows reflecting the faint glow of the lanterns. Clara moved cautiously toward the staircase, Harrow close behind. "The final piece," she murmured, "is here. Someone else has been involved, watching from the shadows." From behind the railing, Emily Carver, the socialite who had seemed nervous all evening, stepped forward, her hands shaking. I couldn't let them take it," she whispered, eyes wide. "I saw Thomas in the library earlier. I didn't know what to do. I only wanted to protect the family, to protect the secret." Clara studied her carefully. "So you acted? But your actions contributed to the chaos?" Emily nodded. "I didn't mean harm. I wanted to help. But the letters, the lockets, the journals, they made me afraid. I thought I could stop someone from taking the wrong thing." Clara's eyes softened. "Fear makes us act in ways we later regret. But the important thing is that the secret remains intact, and now we understand the motives behind each move tonight." Lord Maplewood stepped forward, his expression calm yet reflective. "It seems my attempt to control the events exceeded my judgment. I see now that secrecy is not preserved by manipulation, but by trust and responsibility." Harrow nodded. "And the legacy is safe, then?" "Yes," Maplewood said, "because those who act in good faith, with integrity, are the ones who truly understand it." Clara turned her attention to Thomas Blythe. "Your role tonight was misinterpreted," she said. "But you acted in caution, and ultimately, you were correct in trying to prevent misuse of the secret. The family's history is preserved, and no further harm will come, provided discretion continues." Thomas exhaled, relief flooding his features. "Thank you, Detective Monroe. I see now that even the smallest actions can ripple through time." Clara looked around the grand hall, taking in the guests, the storm-cleansed windows, and the familiar grandeur of Maplewood Manor. "Secrets will always exist," she said. "But tonight proves that courage, careful observation, and the willingness to uncover truth responsibly are what make the difference between disaster and resolution." The maid, who had quietly observed the evening's events, stepped forward. "And what about me?" she asked. Clara smiled warmly. "You were our witness, and your honesty helped us see the bigger picture. Without you, we might never have understood the chain of events. You acted bravely." Maplewood clasped his hands together, nodding. "Tonight, we have learned that trust must be earned, and secrets respected. The manor is as it should be, a place of history, reflection, and careful guardianship." Outside, the morning sun began to pierce the mist, illuminating the estate with a gentle glow. The storm had passed entirely, leaving behind the quiet peace of a new day. Clara closed her notebook and pocketed the lockets, knowing the events of the night would remain in her memory, a testament to careful observation, courage, and the enduring power of truth. No further harm came to Maplewood Manor. The journals were returned to their proper place, the secret corridors and hidden rooms remained intact but now understood by those with the wisdom to respect them, and the family legacy endured, preserved by those who had acted with integrity. Clara Monroe stepped outside onto the dewy grounds, taking a deep breath of crisp morning air. Her work here was done, but she knew that mysteries, like Maplewood Manor itself, always awaited those willing to observe, inquire, and seek the truth. Sometimes, the heart of a house is not in its walls or windows, but in the courage of those who walk its halls and the secrets they choose to protect, a lesson that would linger long after the last visitor had departed.